All right, so today I want to talk about we're modifying these. These are 4-speed covers. So most of these, can you get the whole thing in there, Lindsay?
Can.
So this one's been done. I finished this one yesterday. Putting 60-61 inserts. So we're taking 61-61 tube stock, machining that down, making a bushing, and we're heating up the cover, popping it in, letting it cool so it locks in there. So it's locked in. Here's the inside of it. There's the 60-61. This is all cast. So some of these, the issue we have on the 4-speeds is that the early ones, which are, let's see if I've got one here. There's a V700 one, but the early ones are 20 millimeter. So you can get both those in. So the problem is, the only thing you can run the 20 millimeter is those stupid ball bearings, and they fall apart. They're a pain in the ass to deal with. I haven't used those in 30-something years because every time you put one in, they never work. So the thing to do is to bore these things out. Now the problem with that is that these are cast, and when you bore them out, you will get little goofy things. This one doesn't have it. You'll get goofy things inside of it. Cast marks or cast pockets, and then that'll rip the O-ring, because there's an O-ring, there's a piston that basically goes in here, your throwout bearing housing, it goes in here, and there's an O-ring, and that O-ring has to rub up against a nice smooth surface. And if it's too loose, or the O-ring's not right, or if you have pits in it from, sometimes when we bore them out, they get pits from the whatever they did on the casting, whatever type of casting they did on. I don't know if it's sand casting or what. It'll rip up the O-ring and you get leaks. So I'm going to go through this on this video, show you guys what we got to do to save these things, because when they're 20 millimeter, they're basically junk. We can't really use them, so we always got to bore them out. We did some about 5-6 years ago with my buddy Dennis, and then we had a couple issues, like I said, with the aluminum wasn't too smooth because it was cast, and we had some pits in there, and so that's why we're going with a 60-61. We're trying something new here. So the inserts get made. I'll maybe show that later in the video, making the inserts. They get popped in. We'll show them heating this thing up, and they'll drop right in. We get this thing at about 350 degrees, drop it in, let it cool, and then do the final boring out, and then I put a hone in there. I'll show you guys, and the thing is, now it's hard to find a good, a machinist that wants to do small runs, and it's expensive. So we're getting all the old equipment up and running. This is an old tree mill, I think from like 1962. It's a 2VG. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that, and it's a good little mill. So we'll show you what's going on with that. Now, all right, so the first thing we're going to do is come up here a little closer, Lindsay. I'll get this on the other camera. All right, so I've got a coaxial indicator. This is a cheapy one. It's, not super fancy, but it works. So this bore is still a 20 millimeter, and it looks pretty good. It's not a bad, sometimes they get all scarred up, so I'm going to do an indication off of this because this should be pretty well centered. So we set up the table for this center. So this is, I've already got this kind of set up. Took me a few minutes to do that. Let me get my arm out of the way here. And you can see that I think I've got this thing within about 1 thou. So I'm turning this thing around. Let me hold it up here. So we're probably probably within 1 thou. Maybe 1.5 thou, which should be fine. It's not super critical. So this thing's ready to bore. I'm going to make a lip on it, bore it out, and then insert it. Then we'll do a final cut, finish it all off, and make it good to go. And we'll make it so we got a set figure where we're going to do the final bore, so the O-ring fits in nice, all that. So we should have no leaks, hopefully, or at least reduce the leaks. So anyways, there's that part. We'll go into the rest of it here, and thanks for checking out the video. Okay, this is a Tree 2VG mill, old one. I think it's probably 1961, 62. So we're going to exchange that. I got a 5/8 boring bar. I got to exchange it out for a 1-inch. For a 1-inch collet, I've got an adjustable boring bar that has a 1/2-inch cutter in it. So anyway, so basically you pull this thing down a little bit, bring that back, and your tool will slip right out. Then screw this thing back. All right, so there's my collet, and it's got these two cogs here. You got to make sure they line up. So this is my 5/8. I'll keep it with this for right now because I'm going to reuse that. Put this on the table, and we'll put this other one in. Okay, here's what we're going to put in. So this is my 1-inch collet. So I'm not going to put that on there right now, but anyways, this is adjustable. I've got a handmade brazed a piece of carbide on that piece of rod, so that's going to be my bore cutter. All right. Okay, you want to make sure it locks in. And tighten this down. I want to make sure that the collet is, I don't have anything in it, but I want to make sure it's not loose. And sometimes you got to fiddle faddle with this one at least. All right, so this, be careful here. That's it. That should be tight. Okay. All right, so there we go. Push this back, lock it up, and now I'm ready to cut. That's close enough. I'm looking for 1.089. That's 1 point, so that's a thou big. This is for the lip, so I'm going to cut the lip. Okay, here's what we're making. So these sleeves, these are 60-61 sleeves. They're going to go inside the cast 4-speed back cover. These are still undersized in here, so these will slip in. We'll heat up the cover, get it like 350 degrees, and then we'll drop these in, and then it'll cool off and seize up in there. Then we'll go through and bore this to make it a nice fit. Getting close. Okay, we're getting close. Let's see, I want to go 981, so I got to go another. I want to go 981, 982. Let me see exactly where we're at here. This is, so basically 7/8 thousandths. So I'll take this. So let's say I want to go 8. I got to add 4 onto here. That'll give me 8. So I want to go less than 4. So right now it's at 68. I'll go just under. I'll go right there to 71. That should give me what I want. Okay, so 981, that's where I want it. Okay, so that looks okay. Now we got to deburr that, and she's ready for install. How exciting. All right, so we're gonna basically drop this in. These are inserts that we make. These are made out of 6061 aluminum. This one's 0.9795, that's the diameter here. This is 0.9770, so we've got, according to this, about a 2.5 thousandths interference. So this is a cast aluminum. It should expand up a whole lot. We're going to heat it up to about maybe 400 degrees or so, get it to expand up, and this should just drop in. We're going to cool this off a little bit in the freezer, and that's Stevie's idea. That works out good. So we're going to try this. This should drop all the way in, and then later we will take it to the mill and face it, and then bore it, and then make it a nice snug fit for the throw-out bearing housing. Make sure that O-ring slides in there good. All right, so let's get to it, heat it up, put this in the freezer. And there we go. Takes a few minutes to heat this up, so we'll probably fast forward through all this stuff so it's not so boring. Right now it's about 350. Let's see if the camera can pick this up. Let's see if this works. Little tight at the end, but there she is. This thing's still cold. This piece is a little drift. We get that cold, and that helps keep that this thing cold while it's going in, so it could help us really squeeze it in. So that thing's in there tight, and after it cools off, it will be as one. Here she is on the back side. So, and I may trim this down a little bit. I don't know. It's sticking through a little bit. I may have to trim that on the mill. But anyways, there's dropping them in. Thank you guys. All right, so we've got the bushings pressed in or dropped in. We heat up the, you just saw that. So now we're going to get Lindsay to do a close-up on this. Hopefully we got good lighting on this. So that's the inside. So that's the bushing, and this is undersized right now, so we still have to bore this out. The next thing I'm doing is I usually give this a little bit of lip, make it a little fatter. So I'm going to come down and face this to make it even where my fingernail is. So let's get it in the light. There's the light. Hold it right there, Lindsay, if you it'll hold. So right where my fingernail is right there, I'm going to face it down and bring that down flat. I have a very strident camera woman right now filming this.
Not to be confused with shrill.
Shrill and strident. She matches both. Those are two of my new favorite words.
They're very misogynistic words.
Yes, someone's. I've heard I'm misogynistic over and over. I don't know if that's true or not, but.
Oh, it is.
I love women. I have a woman for a wife, and I had a mother, and I love and respect women. So I find offense to be called misogynistic. Okay, here we go. All right, so I've got this set up. It's going to bore this down a little bit. We're going to flatten this out, and it's going to make some noise, so we'll try to deaden it. And I don't know if we need any lights on in here. Do we need any? I guess
No.
we're okay. All right. All right, so there's that. That's set up right now for the next stage. I've got 12 of these, 11 or 12 of these to get through. So there's our facing, making sure this is all nice and even. You can see that. Show how nice and pretty that looks.
Yeah, that's alright.
Not misogynistic at all.
Looks like a misogynistic face to me.
Okay. So this is the bore before it gets reamed out. So it's still a nice bore. It's probably good enough to go at, probably better than stock, geez. This is a little handmade carbide tool we brazed onto a rod. So yeah, anyways, it works pretty good. It's a nice, leaves us a really nice finish on that aluminum. This is those 61 aluminum inserts. All right, Tony, let's show the people what we got here. All right, here's the done product. So we get a close-up of that. So this is the final bore. I was going to try to use a reamer, but the finish wasn't as nice. So that tool that we made worked really nice. So it's just a nice, beautiful, really smooth finish in there. So there you go. You need a 4-speed cover, we got them. Thank you for watching the video.